Today, we are talking about the 30-year exemption. We are going to explain exactly what it is, why it matters more right now in 2025 than it ever has before, and which three specific trucks you need to be hunting before the rest of America figures out what mechanics have quietly known for years. Because right now, today, there is a narrow window where you can legally own, drive, register, and repair a truck that is completely outside the reach of every emissions inspector, every OBD2 diagnostic requirement, every software lock, and every dealership authorization wall in the country. And that window is closing one model year at a time. Let us start with the legal foundation. In most states, vehicles that are 25 years old or older qualify for historic or antique vehicle registration. In some states, that number is 20 years. But the truly important threshold, the one that mechanics and savvy truck buyers have been quietly exploiting for years, is the federal emissions exemption. Under EPA regulations, vehicles manufactured before model year 1996 are not subject to the OBD2 diagnostic requirements that govern every modern truck on the road. And in many states, vehicles over 25 years old are either fully exempt from emissions testing or subject to dramatically reduced standards. What that means in plain English is this: a truck built before 1996 cannot be failed at an emission station for not having a functioning catalytic converter monitoring system. It cannot be flagged for a missing oxygen sensor. It cannot be bricked by a software update. It cannot be locked out of its own diagnostic port. The government's electronic leash does not reach it. But here is where it gets even more significant. We are right now, in 2025, crossing a threshold that only comes once per model year, permanently and irreversibly. The 1995 model year trucks are crossing the 30-year mark. The 1996 trucks, the last generation before OBD2 became mandatory, are sitting right at 29 years. And in states with stricter rolling exemptions, every single year that passes pulls another model year permanently outside the inspection dragnet forever. Once a truck crosses that line, it never goes back. The government cannot retroactively reach in and demand OBD2 compliance from a vehicle that was built before the standard existed. These trucks are legally untouchable, and the market has not fully priced that in yet. Now let us talk about why this matters beyond just passing inspection, because the exemption is only part of the story. The deeper reason mechanics are quietly accumulating these specific trucks is not just about avoiding the emission station. It is about the fundamental architecture of the machine itself. Every truck built before 1996 shares one critical characteristic that separates it from everything built after. It was designed by engineers who still believe that the owner of the vehicle should be able to fix it. The wiring harnesses were designed to be traced with a test light and a multimeter. The fuel systems were designed to be diagnosed with a fuel pressure gauge and a timing light. There were no proprietary encrypted networks. There were no software authorization requirements. There were no over-the-air updates that could modify your engine parameters without your knowledge or consent. When something broke, you could find it. When you found it, you could fix it. And when you fixed it, it stayed fixed. That philosophy of engineering died on January 1st, 1996, when OBD2 became federally mandatory. And it has never come back. So which three trucks are mechanics actually buying? Let us get specific. The first truck is the 1992 to 1995 Ford F-150 with the 5.0-liter or 5.8-liter engine. This generation of F-150 represents what many professional mechanics consider the last truly overbuilt American half-ton truck. The twin I-beam front suspension on these trucks is nearly indestructible. The 5.0 high output engine, when properly maintained, routinely crosses 300,000 miles without internal engine work. The wiring is simple enough that a competent home mechanic can trace every circuit in an afternoon. Parts availability is exceptional because Ford sold millions of these trucks, and the aftermarket has had 30 years to mature. And critically, because these trucks predate OBD2, a failing oxygen sensor or a cracked exhaust manifold will not trigger a check engine light that causes you to fail inspection. You fix what is broken when you choose to fix it, not when a computer decides to hold your registration hostage. The second truck is the 1988 to 1995 Chevrolet C/K 1500 with the TBI 350. The throttle body injected small block Chevy engine in this generation of truck is arguably the single most reliable American V8 engine ever mass produced. Throttle body injection gave it better cold starts and fuel economy than a carburetor, while maintaining almost all of the simplicity of a carbureted engine. There is no mass airflow sensor to fail. There is no complex electronic returnless fuel system to chase down. The computer that runs this engine has exactly one job. It manages fuel delivery and ignition timing. That is it. Everything else is mechanical. The front axle, the transfer case, the transmission and the manual configuration, all of it is fully serviceable with standard tools and a factory service manual. These trucks are currently selling at auction for between $3,000 and $8,000 depending on condition. Mechanics who understand what they are looking at are paying that price without hesitation. The third truck is the 1993 to 1995 Dodge Ram 1500 with the 5.9-liter Magnum V8. The second generation Ram introduced in 1993 was a complete redesign that shocked the industry. The 5.9 Magnum engine in these trucks was over-engineered for a half-ton application. It was originally developed with heavy-duty use in mind, and the tolerances show it. Cast iron block, forged steel crankshaft, simple port fuel injection that any competent mechanic can service. Dodge sold this truck with a body-on-frame construction so robust that rust is typically the only thing that kills them. And unlike the first two trucks on this list, the second generation Ram tends to be slightly undervalued in the current market because it lacks the cult following of the Ford and Chevy equivalents. That pricing gap is exactly where the opportunity lives. Now here is the part of the conversation that most YouTube channels will not have with you because it requires honesty about the trade-offs. These trucks are not perfect. The fuel economy on a mid-1990s V8 half-ton is going to land somewhere between 13 and 17 miles per gallon, depending on how you drive it. The ride quality, particularly on the Ford Twin I-Beam, is agricultural by modern standards. These trucks do not have blind spot monitoring. They do not have lane keep assist. The cab insulation is not what you find in a 2024 truck. We are not telling you these are luxury vehicles. What we are telling you is that when you own one of these trucks, you own it completely. No software company holds a key to your engine. No dealership can brick your starter motor because you missed a service appointment. No insurance company's telematics box is streaming your driving behavior to an underwriter who will use it to raise your premium. When you turn the key, the engine starts because physics and chemistry say it starts, not because a server in Detroit gave it permission. And that is becoming an increasingly rare and valuable thing. The window is closing at one model year per year. Permanently, the 1995 trucks are already there. The 1996 trucks hit the line next year in most states. After that, the OBD2 generation starts aging into partial exemptions. But those trucks carry the software architecture of the modern era. They were born into the digital leash. The pre-96 trucks were not. And once the market fully understands what it's losing, the prices on clean examples of these three trucks are going to move in one direction only. The mechanics who have been quietly buying them for 5 years already know this. The question is whether you are going to figure it out before the rest of the market does. What pre-OBD2 truck are you running right now? And what state are you in? Drop it in the comments because we are building a map of where these trucks are still available at reasonable prices. And we want your intel. If you are not going to let a dealership tell you what you can and cannot fix on your own property, hit subscribe. We will see you in the next one.